Alright, so let's make our first Flutter application. We are going to be using VS Code. We're going to create a user interface that I have already made and submitted to the Hack Violet hackathon. I will be uploading the code to GitLab, but the code is quite similar to the code you can find on the first Flutter application tutorial on the Flutter documentation website. I have just added GIF images and an extra button and some slight modifications to make it run more smoothly. So let's get started. All right, and you should have VS Code installed, so you're going to want to open that up. You are going to want to press Control Shift P. You're going to want to type in Flutter new project. You're going to create an application, and we are going to select the application location, and I am going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call it Hack Violet Submission Tutorial. Go ahead and create that, and then we will select this folder, and we will call this the Hack Submission, and that should be good. And as you can see here, we trust the authors. You'll see that Flutter is going to go ahead and create a swath of files, folders, and put together some dependency packages for us, which makes the process extremely easy. So there are three main files that we will be editing. We have the main.dart. This is the main file, which is where we'll be doing most of our running. We're going to get rid of all this code here. We have the pubspec YAML. This is where the dependencies are defined, the versions are defined, and just other settings for the code. And we have the analysis options file here, which is going to set the Dart code. I guess it's not called a compiler, it's called an analyzer, but it's going to limit the amount of errors. If you've coded in C, it's like the GCC dash W extra, W all, that kind of thing. You can set how strict the analyzer is at returning errors or warnings. And we're going to set this pretty not strict, but it's not Python, so even with it not very strict, we still are going to have to follow a little more rules than we would coding in Python. All right, so let's get to it. All right, so let's get started with the pubspec.yaml. We're going to change the name here to Hack Submission. This is just a new Flutter project. That's good enough. We are not going to be publishing this. The version is fine. This is the environment that we'll be using, which is fine. Dependencies here for Flutter, this is fine. We don't actually need this, so we can comment this out, and we will keep both of these as we will need them. The assets/images is where I put the images that I will be using for this, and we can go ahead and make that. Assets, and inside there, we will put an images folder. This is a little bit redundant, but why not? So we go ahead and save that, and there we go. And you'll see that the Flutter pub get runs quite a lot, and there are a lot of things that Flutter does that makes this entire process easier. And again, there's only 3 files, so this won't take too long. That's all we need to define and specify all of the external stuff that we will be using. Next, we'll take a look at the analysis options.yaml. All right, so here we are in the analysis options.yaml. We are simply just setting up some rules, and as you can see, we've set everything to false. So we are not going to be strict on constant constructors. I don't think we're actually going to be using any constant constructors. Final fields, don't think we're using that anyway either. Use key and widget. We actually do use key and widget, but it's set to false anyway, so it's not required. Prefer constant literals to create immutables. We are not doing any of that. And prefer constant constructors in immutables. We are also not doing any of that. Avoid print. We will be printing a little bit to the console, but it's not necessary. Even still though, set to false. So we got some pretty loose rules. Supposedly in production, you're going to want to ramp that up a little bit, but this is what we're going with now. And that's it. Next, we're going to take a look at the main.dart, which is where the meat is. And I am getting these files from the GitHub, which I will make public, and you can copy the code and paste it in the files after you make the Flutter application. The only things you have to change are these 3 files. So there is an issue with the glibc, and I think it's because my snap was out of date and I did update it. So let's try this fix here. See if this helps us out. And before using anything, you want to upgrade them first. So go ahead and Flutter upgrade. All right, looks like it's already up to date. CD into hack submission, which is where we should have been. And there we go. And Flutter run the Linux. There we go. And we're good to go. So this is what it's going to end up looking like. We have not added the images yet, but we will, and we will get it going. So I will explain the main.dart file, and we will get it all working. Make sure that when you are installing Flutter, you upgrade Snap and you upgrade Flutter before completing the install. All right, so here we are in the main.dart, and this is where the meat of the code is. There's no backend here, basically, so all of the visuals, all of the functionality are defined right here. So to get started to run, you can Control F5, you can press this button, you can run from the terminal, does not matter. Takes a minute to run, but there we go. This is what it looks like. It is a responsive page, so resizing changes the view accordingly. And there are some cool features such as hot reload, which allows us to make a change here. Perhaps we'll go colors dot black and see what that does. If we Control S here, it changes it. Black made it purple for some reason, but you can see that with it open, any changes you make when you save the file, it'll update, similar to how a live server works if you have done JavaScript. So we have the app here, which is just the entire application with the home page, and the home page is this entire block here. The app state is where all of the variables get initialized and the functionalities of buttons are defined. We have the get next, which gets the next object to be displayed when you press the next button, as well as load up the next link and add the text to the actually that's all it does. And it also does add this text up here. Then we have the toggle favorites, which allows you to like and unlike, and we have the remove favorite, which allows you to remove with the trash can. Notify listeners is where the actual updating happens when these are called. So we have the on pressed, app state, toggle favorite, and that's where the things happen. So inside the generator page, we have everything in here minus the navigation bar, which includes this image and text object, which is called the big card and gets further defined down here. The buttons are defined here as well, and there are some flexbox and sizing parameters that get set here as well. The favorites page is defined here, and that again is this page here. I don't have any favorites yet, so we can hit next here, maybe like this one, and you'll see it shows up there. Again, there's some more visual settings, parameters, whatever you want to call them. The way that they're defined is visually not similar to CSS, but the text is very similar to CSS or JavaScript. If you've used either, this is not that foreign at all. It's a similar kind of language. It's like JavaScript. It's very, very JavaScript-like. You got the arrow functions. I would almost say it is basically JavaScript, but it's Dart. So the history list view, that's up here. That's where this is. The shading gets defined here as well in the widget build, and that's basically it. So you run it like a normal application. You can define how it is resized, and you can define how objects are interacted with. Very easy, very cool, and it handles things very well with very nice errors. If any error, it'll show up here as well as highlight the code much better than JavaScript would do. The error handling in Flutter is exceptional. That's one of the features that I noticed that were really nice. And you can do a lot of things like right-clicking here. You can, when you refactor, there's a whole bunch of options that you can do. And each of these, when you click them, it'll change the code accordingly and make things a lot easier. So I don't have an example right now, but if I do another video in the future, upgrading this and doing something a little more complicated, I will definitely show you how that works. But ton of functionality in Flutter. I think it's a good development tool, and I will probably be using it in the future. I haven't tried any of the back-end integration. I'm not sure how that works. It doesn't have any back-end tools that I'm aware of, but I do know that you can make API calls and all the like, just like JavaScript. So that's all I got to say about this. This was my first submission to any hackathon. It took me, I want to say, an honest 3 hours, but that's just because I had to learn how things were set up, and I had to, make all these GIFs and collect data and stuff like that. So good learning experience. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. I comment if you have any questions. I'll post the GitHub so you can get this code for yourself and edit it and let me know how you change it. And you can go ahead and use it, maybe post it in the competition. See how it does. Doesn't matter to me. All right, folks. Really appreciate everyone and hope you have a fantastic Sunday. Peace.